Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys, and today this video is going to be an ultimate heat exchanger guide for the Q50 and Q60 community. I did make an old video a couple years ago, but as time has passed, there will be upgraded heat exchangers that came out and different options. So this is going to be for mainly the new people that did join the Boost in Motion family within the last year. For my returning Boost in Motion family, guys, still watch the video. I know you guys like to show your support. Always hit the like button, comment below. But anyway, guys, hit that intro. Welcome everybody back to Boost in Motion, guys. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you. So welcome back everybody. So as you guys already know, for the people who don't know, a heat exchanger is pretty much a small radiator. Our cars come with two turbos, all right? To make it as simple as possible, we have two square boxes that'll sit on top of the motor. These are called intercoolers. The compressed air from the turbines go through these intercoolers, which are water to air and air to water intercoolers, which bring down the air charge or this boost pressure charge. Remember, you're spinning the turbines really fast, and when air compresses, it gets hotter and hotter. So we want that charge, that air charge, to be as cool as possible when it goes in the motor for combustion. If you don't bring down this cool air charge, you'll be more prone to detonation and knock. Just know that the car wouldn't run right. Okay, so these intercoolers have a small radiator, which is called a heat exchanger, that sits in front of the condenser. This is to the front of the car. Now, the one that comes from factory for the 3.0T and the Red Sport are all the same size, and it's small heat exchanger units. So the companies that I'm gonna tell you about in this video, what they chose to do was go with a larger surface area heat exchanger and larger amount of coolant capacity. When you add a larger amount of coolant and you add a lot more surface area and coolant capacity to the car, this allows your car to be less prone to heat soak, and which means you'll have good consistent power if you guys like to go race and do pulls or even spirited driving. The OEM unit is not enough. It is not enough. On an 80 or 90 degree day, your car is not going to have much power, period, because the unit's so small. So after 1 or 2 pulls, that's it, or less than that, the car is going to be running like dog-ish. So anyways, let's jump into the first heat exchanger. This is going to be a frozen boost heat exchanger. Some of you guys might have seen this on the market where people have put this on behind their front bumper, and it gives you that intercooler look. This is more of a DIY heat exchanger. I think it's between about $150 to about $180 depending on the type you go with. I'm gonna put a link below to that the heat exchangers that most people use, and I believe 1 or 2 other YouTubers have shown how to install these type of heat exchangers. This is more of a DIY kit, but this is also one on the more smaller side heat exchangers. It is an upgraded heat exchanger because it does have more coolant capacity and surface area, but it's still small compared to the other heat exchangers that I'm going to talk about in this video. If you guys do want to go with this heat exchanger, most people do it for the front mount look. What I would recommend in this video, this is why I need you guys to pay attention. You can run this heat exchanger in line or circuit, which means the coolant goes through the OEM stock heat exchanger and then have it go through the frozen boost heat exchanger, so that you would have a dual pass heat exchanger system. Rather than just get rid of your stock heat exchanger system, this is just another way of adding an additional heat exchanger system. What I would say some of the downfalls are, depending on if your car has intelligent cruise control and other sensors, I believe, and if your car has, such as my car, my Q60 has adjustable flaps for the oil cooler, you may block that. You may have to relocate or remove those flaps that open up and close as the car goes. You might have to actually remove those, or you might have to relocate your oil cooler. It all depends on what you guys choose to do. You can go with the frozen boost and still have your oil cooler, but you're still blocking some of that airflow. So I wouldn't really recommend it, and those flaps are only on Infiniti Q60s. They're not on the Q50s from what I've been told and from what I read. All right, so this is your first option. Your second option is going to be the Burger Tuning Heat Exchanger. Now they do make two. There's going to be one for about $330 and there's going to be one for $430. The only difference between the two is one is made in China and one is made in America. Literally. That shows you why outsourcing components overseas sometimes is more beneficial for us when it comes to price. I mean, I love America, but paying $100 more here. But anyways, these heat exchanger, which I've had on my Q50, is larger than a frozen boost, but still doesn't have this large size compared to other heat exchangers I'm going to talk about later in this video. Once again, this one uses a OEM. It doesn't use the OEM location. It actually uses the bottom mount, where if you have a 3.0T with the oil cooler or a red sport with the oil cooler, which is at the bottom of the bumper, the bottom grill, what you would have to do there is they'll give you brackets to relocate the oil cooler to the higher position where the whole OEM heat exchanger will be. Not considered to do that, but if you don't have those oil coolers, which means those oil coolers only come on the 3.0T Sport with the Sport full package and the red sports. If you just have a regular 3.0T Signature or Premium or Luxe Q50 Q60, you're good to go. What I chose to do with that Burger Tuning Heat Exchanger is once again run it inline and in circuit with the OEM one. So that's another option that you guys can choose to do. So you can also make it dual pass. All right, I know you guys hear me saying this dual pass. What I'm saying is the coolant will go through one set of fins and then come through and go through another set of fins or another set of heat exchanger. Some people may not like that because you may actually drop the pressure within the system, but I didn't have any issues running running these two units together, at least. So that's just my own personal experience, but other tuners and other people may comment below and tell you what they think. Okay, so just check in the comments below if any big companies or people who've been in the community comment below on their own experience. Okay, cool. Now we're all for that. Now the next heat exchanger we're gonna move to is PLM. This is a private label manufacturing. I don't know too much about these heat exchangers at all. I don't know how much ounces they actually fill up with, but what I can tell you is some of these companies, they replicate what other companies have done already, and pretty much the coolant size, the coolant size, the surface area of the heat exchanger is going to be very similar when it comes to the thickness. So this heat exchanger is right around $495, $500. I noticed you can buy these on eBay and make an offer, so you might be able to get these heat exchangers for a little bit cheaper. It's right around that $500 mark. You might be able to get the offer depending on the seller for a little bit cheaper. So this is another option if you can actually choose to go with. I don't have any specs on the thickness and how much coolant it holds, but I know it's very similar to the next one, one of the companies here, which is AMS. We'll talk about that one a little later. Next, we're gonna move on to Mishimoto. Now, I gotta shout out to Mishimoto. I believe the Mishimoto at one point was one of the best bang for its bucks. Reason being is it had about a bit more surface area than the AMS unit, and it holds, from what I can tell you, about almost about as much as the AMS unit holds, 197% from what I've been reading on their own website. So this is when I actually start giving you guys numbers. 197% above the stock heat exchanger unit, so that's almost a ×2 amount of coolant. And I noticed that the surface area is really good. They also have bleeder valves. The same thing for the PLM. I forgot to add that. The PLM also has bleeder valves for when you want to get a lot of the air out of the system, because air in the system is bad. You don't want air in the system. Anyways, so the PLM, so the Mishimoto unit I've noticed is right around $550, right around there. I've noticed you might be able to catch some eBay sellers and a few companies might sell it for a little less, but right around the low 500s mark. I definitely recommend this unit for a good couple of years because it was a good pricing for what you get in return. All right. Now the next heat exchanger I'm gonna move to is the Aam Heat Exchanger. This is the one I actually went with on my Q60. So shout out to Aam if they're watching. Their price point is right around that 550 to close to 600 mark. I believe they're going to be lowering the price really soon. Hopefully they do. Hopefully they can lower the pricing of close to the PLM price, which will make it a really bang for its buck. But the PLM, but the AAM heat exchanger is slightly larger than the AMS and Mishimoto unit, and it holds almost the most amount of quantity of coolant in the heat exchanger system. So I gotta shout them out. So it's one of the biggest heat exchangers in the market right now, but it's priced a little bit higher than the Mishimoto. I'll put a link to that below if you want to go to that. But I definitely like the welds on it. A lot of these heat exchangers use the same OEM mounting bracket, mounting area, which is right in front of the condenser. And that brings me to one of the last company, which will be AMS. Now AMS, one of the last, they bring out two heat exchangers. The first one will be their first heat exchanger, which used to be about $800. They're gonna probably lower that price down to somewhere around $650, maybe even $600. We don't know exactly yet. I'll tell you why in the next part. This heat exchanger is smaller than the Mishimoto, and well, not smaller, right around the same size as the Mishimoto, but smaller than the AAM. Most people go with the AMS heat exchanger because Infiniti, I guess, did a licensing with them where you can actually purchase the AMS units at the dealer itself and install the heat exchanger. I just wanted you guys to know that. The next part I want to add is that they came out recently with so this heat exchanger is huge. They went up with a larger heat exchanger. It's about $950 to $1,000, and it's about 800% the size of the OEM heat exchanger. So they added so much more amount of coolant to the system that this is going to mitigate a lot of the heat soak. But at almost $1,000 for this race heat exchanger, do you think it's a bit excessive? I'm gonna be straight up with you guys on video. It all depends on what you want to get the use out of it for. Some of you guys want to get the best components, the best parts out there for your daily driver. I still think this is an excess for a daily driver, $1,000, but some people like to buy the best that's out there. So I'm never going to take away from AMS and shout out for them for making a larger unit that almost has quadruple the amount of percentage of fluid. So if they tested it, they did a lot of R&D in it, they brought it out. I know it's a good quality product, and I shout them out for that. So if you guys want to check out AMS, you can check them out below. And lastly, I'm gonna talk about a heat exchanger that hasn't come out yet, and I hope it comes out. All right, it's from Drop Bear LLC. Hopefully, I put a link above to a video I talked about with Mike. He's the owner of Drop Bear LLC. This heat exchanger should have a large amount of coolant, very similar to the largest AMS unit, but also on top of that, they want to make it triple pass. So you realize earlier in the video I was talking about the dual passes, where it goes through one set of heat exchangers, go through a next. Triple pass is like having 3 heat exchangers in one huge unit, which means that you get the maximum amount of cooling as the coolant chooses to pass and go through those air fins. So shout out to Drop Bear for performance. I really hope you bring out this racing unit. Once again, I don't know what the price is gonna be for this heat exchanger unit. Understanding, because it's a race unit, it will probably be somewhere close to the price of the AMS unit at around $950, or maybe cheaper, because they want to be able to compete in price. I think this is also good for the people who care about racing, get the most amount of money, go get the best product for their money. This all depends if you want to do this for your daily driver. But guys, I'm gonna put the links below to all the social medias if you want to purchase any of these heat exchangers. Also, if I do have an eBay link or an Amazon link, you guys choose to purchase from those, the contribution, I get a kickback, a small kickback from eBay and Amazon when you guys do that, and that really supports the channel and supports me, and I'm super appreciative of you guys who do that. But outside of that, guys, if you made it to this part, this is the ultimate heat exchanger video for the Q50, Q60 VR30 community. As of right now, I don't know of any other heat exchangers that have been added to the market, and as of right now, this is the complete up-to-date list. So if you guys want to contact me, boostinmotion on IG, Facebook, and boostinmotion@gmail.com. You guys have a good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Thank you guys, appreciate it. You got it. You have a good day. Thank you everybody for watching. Do appreciate you guys. Love you guys very much. You can also check out the 2 links I posted for some of my other videos. Also on top of that, if you want to purchase some boostinmotion merch, definitely check the link that I posted also. And finally, if you've been watching all my videos and you enjoy them, please hit the link to subscribe to my YouTube channel.